I left Sault Ste. Marie 170 kilometers back. I'm still about an hour away from Sudbury. I'm at a rest stop picnic area called Serpent Falls. The surroundings here and along the road, it's quite clearly and distinctly Ontario, as I imagine it and remember it. And it's quite nice. After Sudbury, the next place of any size, and it's still not even that big, is North Bay. And after that it'll be Ottawa, so there'll be a total of 800 kilometers for the day. When I gassed up this morning, I checked the oil and I was down a quart, so that driving yesterday kind of took its toll on the engine, so to speak. But it was fine otherwise. It was being down a quart is not bad. Par for the course, I guess. Alright, on to my next destination or stop. On day 5 of my mostly cross-Canada trip from Calgary, Alberta to Moncton, New Brunswick, I did the entire trip from Ottawa to Moncton in one day, which was roughly 1,200 kilometers. And at 100 kilometers per hour average, it took me 13 plus hours to do the trip, and I arrived at my destination at 1:30 a.m. So it was a very long day, and it's a trip I've done many times. The roads between Ottawa and Moncton are at this point upwards of 90% four-lane divided highway. 10 years ago that wasn't the case. It was a lot of it was 2 lanes, but now the roads are quite good, and there's also a major thoroughfare that allows you to bypass the island of Montreal, without going on the island, which is pretty congested most of the time. So I didn't take any pictures or videos of this particular portion of the trip, since, as I mentioned, I've done it many times and I've lots of pictures from other trips. But I'll probably do a dedicated video of this trip at some point in the future. So I was very happy with the trip overall, and by the 4th and 5th day of my trip, I wasn't paying nearly as much attention as I was at the start of the trip to the engine temperature and so on, because I'd gone through the more difficult hilly portions of it, and I knew how the car reacted in the heat and also after hours of driving and so on, and I was quite comfortable and very happy with the way the car behaved. So it got me to Moncton without any issues, and again, I was very pleased with the old Mustang. It performed like a champ. After 4 days of R&R, I undertook another trip, which was only a 1-day trip, and that was to bring the U-Haul trailer back to the return location, which was in Rivière du Loup, Quebec, 600 kilometers from Moncton. The reason I did that is because bringing it back there, as opposed to keeping it in Moncton or dropping it off in Moncton, saved me a fair amount of money. So even after I paid the gas to go bring it back to Rivière du Loup, I saved about $250. So that was worth it for me, even though it was a very long day and I was still tired from the original cross-Canada trip. But there were some interesting things I learned about gas consumption on this last day, having to do with the weight of the trailer filled and empty, and also driving without the trailer altogether. So I'll discuss that in a future video, just talking about gas consumption and hauling a trailer and hauling extra weight and so on. I know it's a big topic of discussion amongst RVers, talking about even carrying extra water in your tanks and how it affects gas consumption and so on. So throughout this trip and also on this last day, I learned a lot about how gas is consumed, and it would perhaps give a different perspective on this that I'll share at another point in time. So that concludes my 5-day journey plus an extra day to return the trailer, and it was a good experience. It was interesting, and I get to see a lot of Canada, and it's on to the next adventure.